the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam actually had a specified time where he would teach women, where he would do that, especially the women of Medina. And actually the women of Medina were different from the women of Makkah. They were actually a lot more bold. And the Sahaba even noticed that they're more bold. Like Umar radiallahu anhu said, they're not like the women of Makkah. It's like so there was a difference between them. And they're outspoken. And we even know that from like, many athar and many hadith texts. Like, Umar is giving khutbah radiallahu anhu and a woman gets up and says, you can't say that. Allah said this. Like, lady, why are you not in the sister section behind a glass? Why are you... Oh, and you're talking to Umar. Umar. You don't want to like point a finger at Umar like that, but she did. She's like, gutsy lady, She did that. And, there are assumptions that men and women should not interact with each other at all, under any circumstance. That's what Islam wants. That isn't true. As a matter of fact, non-mahram, man and woman, talking to each other in public, outside, is mentioned in the Quran. Musa alayhi salam went up to two girls that were not his mahram. Then he went over and talked to them and said, what's wrong with you ladies? Ma khatbukuma, what's wrong with you? And they said, well, we can't feed our animals until the whole flock is done. They had a conversation. He didn't go up to them and say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, ya ukhtayya, my two sisters, fil Islam. He doesn't know even if they're not Muslims. They don't know. They don't know him, he doesn't know them. They don't know he's Musa alayhi salam. They don't know that. They don't know any of that. But they had a conversation with each other. A non-mahram talking to another non-mahram about what? A problem. They were wrestling with sheep. So you had to go talk to them. What are you doing? What's going on? Can I help with something? But he didn't prolong the conversation. He kept it to the point. What are we learning in Quran? If you keep your conversation to the point, it's fine. You might have a female co-worker. You might have a class. I have students. I have to answer their questions. They have a right to me as much as the brothers have a right to me. Because I'm teaching a class, it's a matter of justice. I can't put them in the back and not give them the same kind of attention. It's not fair. And I brought this up. If in education, is it fair or not? This is no, it's acceptable. There are ulama that are more conservative on this, and there are ulama that allow it too. But there are plenty of mainstream Ahl Sunnah across the schools of thought scholars that allow this. That allow, for example, this kind of setting, if it's meant with certain kind of restrictions. There shouldn't be small talk. If I crack a joke, it's to the entire audience, not to sisters by themselves, or something, because that's inappropriate. That's not right. And you're supposed to have a certain line. There's supposed to be a certain line of discomfort between you and myself, or between you and any other non-mahram. There's supposed to be a line of discomfort. There's supposed to be a level of seriousness. You're not supposed to be giggly when you come up individually and talk to a non-mahram man. You're not supposed to be like, no, I have a question, brother. You said this. Why? Learn to be like that. Learn not to be giggly around non-mahram men. Not smiley. Jazakallahu khairan for so many things you're doing. No. Say that on your own. Don't come up and say it to me. Don't come up and say it to me. Say that to your dad. Jazakallahu khairan, Baba. You're so awesome. Great. When you come up to a non-mahram, if it's your teacher, if it's the imam of the masjid, if it's your employer, keep a serious tone. Keep a serious tone. When a woman uses a serious tone, the man becomes serious automatically. Girl comes up to you, you think she's kind of pretty. She comes up to you and says, Assalamu alaikum. You're not going to get your play around now. It's done. It's over. But she comes up to you and says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. No good. No good for you. Then you'll be like, oh, wa alaikum salam. That's bad for you. So you have to keep a stern voice. And these rules, I'm kind of alluding to them, Surah An-Nur already covers them. These rules are already there. You have to keep a stern voice. You have to keep your eyes low. As low as it doesn't mean you don't look away like, brother, I have a question. Like you don't do that either. But if you don't stare at the person. You're like, yes, sister, do ask. No, not like that. Not like that. يَغُضُّ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ يَغْضُضْنَ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ. That's normal. It's not like over the top, but the idea is to keep yourself low. Don't stare. Make just enough eye contact to get your point across, and that's it. That's all. You don't need more than that, you know? So these certain things, they are the guidelines by which public settings make it okay. My teacher told me a story one time of a man who was walking with his son in the park. And they're walking together, and his son looked at a crow in a tree, and he said, "Baba, what's that?" It's like a 2-year-old kid. Baba said, "It's a crow." And he said, "Baba, what's that?" And he said, "It's a crow." "Oh, okay." "Baba, what's that?" "It's a crow." "Oh, a crow. What's that?" "It's a crow." It went on for 10 minutes. He asked him 30 times, he counted. Dad kept a score, and he put it in his little journal. "My son, today we were walking in the park, asked me about a crow 30 times. It was the cutest thing in the world." 30 years go by. The son is not 2, the son is 32. Father calls him, "Son, can I come over?" "Dad, it's not a good time right now." "Son, just bear with me. I just need like 10, 15 minutes. That's all I need. Just go for a drive. I need to talk to you about something." Whatever. You know what? Okay, fine." So he comes over, gets in the car, they drive over to a park. "What's this about, Dad? Can you tell me quickly? I got things to do." "Just take a walk with me, son. It's okay." I'll take a walk. I see a crow in a tree. The dad says, "Son, what's that?" "Seriously, Father? It's a crow." "Oh, son, what's that?" "Is this a game? I have things to do, okay? It's a crow. You can't see, I just got you new glasses last month. Why is this happening to me? Dad, why are you so difficult? I don't understand what the problem is. Just tell me what you really want. I'm busy, okay?" The dad pulls out his journal. He says, "Son, this is something that happened 30 years ago. We were walking down this park. You saw a crow. And you asked me 30 times. And I gave you a smile every time. You couldn't handle twice. What are we giving our parents?" I'm not even bringing Allah into the picture. The fact that Allah mentioned Himself and then mentioned His parents is, you think about that. But what have they done for us and what have we done for them? What have we done for them? How many parents leave, like their children are in ICUs, and they stand there and hovering over this little glass box with a baby inside, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, standing in a hospital, not even sitting down, standing in a hospital, like feeding off of like vending machines. And that same kid grows up and doesn't have the time to call. That same kid, you know? How many mothers almost died giving birth? Almost died giving birth. And now it's so difficult to respond to her call. Or to just give her just a couple of minutes a day. Just let her feel a little important. You know how unfair that is, that you were the most important thing to them and they are so insignificant to you? How unfair that is? You know? They carry that pain with them every day, that I am nothing to my children. I mean nothing to them, worthless to them. You know, they have no time for me. When something is worth something to you, it gets your time. Most of you at this age, you want to just get away from your parents. You just want to be with your friends. You want to be on your own. You just don't want to be with your parents. You know? That's, you develop this crooked habit now and it will only get worse over time. Our parents have very, very, very strong emotions. They're very protective of us. For them, you won't know this until you become a parent. For them, it doesn't matter when you turn 60, you're still their baby. They still remember changing your diaper. They still remember feeding you milk. They still remember burping you and cleaning up after you peed in the back seat. They still remember that. You don't remember that, they remember that. My son won't remember that. I was like, I gotta go. Then all of a sudden he stops complaining. I'm like, oh. Time to roll down the windows. You know. Then he starts talking about what toy are we going to get for Eid. I'm like, oh, okay. This has not been a good day for the car. But when he's graduating college and when one day he's getting married and one day he has his own, he's not going to remember that. But guess who'll never forget? I'll never forget. I'll never forget carrying him into a bathroom, cleaning him up, changing his clothes. Abba, put the Spider-Man pajamas on. He won't remember any of that. I will. And that same kid, when he's talking back to me one day, when he's telling me, Dad, I just don't understand you, okay? I don't have time right now. When he does, it's gonna hurt, man. It's gonna hurt. That's what you do to your parents. That's what I do to my parents. They were our life. They gave up their life for us. Our parents gave up careers for us. Our parents gave up vacations for us. Our parents gave up friends for us. You know that? I know that now. I didn't know that then. They had their entire life planned until you came along. And then you became their plan. You became everything. And you have the nerve. One thing doesn't go your way. You hear one thing you don't want to hear. You snap back at them. It says, we're not even talking about Islam right now. We're just talking about decency, man, just decency. What have they done for you and what you give them back is so unfair. It is so unfair. My dad's so annoying, my mom's so this, they're always mad, they're never happy, they're this, they're that. What are you? What about you? I'm telling you, I can't say this enough times, if you don't earn your parents' du'as, nothing good will come of your life. Nothing good will come of your life if they're not happy with you. If you haven't done everything you can to make them happy. So let's now talk in these few minutes we have together about how to at least practically build that solution. I like to talk, when we talk about reminders, we talk about grand things. When we talk about advice, I believe in talking about advice from a very practical, even minimalist point of view. Things that you can practically do, and that's why I don't like to share much personally, even though I read them for myself for inspiration. I don't like to share stories of the tabi'un and the sahaba, the companions of the Prophet radiallahu anhu ajma'in, who prayed the entire night, or recited the whole Quran in a week, or made dua and then it started raining. Those stories, I don't share them. You know why? Because you know what happens to most of you when you hear that? Man, they were so awesome. I'm so bad. Assalamu alaikum. That's the end of the... Man, Sahaba were really cool. I'm so going to hell. That's it. Let's start little by little. أول الغيث قطر ثم ينهمر. The Arabs have a saying, it says, it's in many other cultures too. The first of the heavy rain is just a drop, then it pours, right? Let it build little by little. The first thing you got to do is you have to discipline your life, people. I have to do it, you have to do it. You know what it means to discipline your life? Go to sleep early. Pray Isha and go to sleep. Don't go to the hookah joint until 12:30 a.m. Don't go see a movie. Don't go hang out with your friends. Don't watch Islamic lectures until 2 in the morning. Do not. It is not beneficial for you. Pray Isha and go to sleep and wake up early. Wake up before Fajr. Give yourself 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I know it seems impossible. It's only impossible because of Netflix at night. Okay? That's the only reason it's impossible. Give the nightlife up. Let the night be for sleep. At least you're not accumulating sin every night. At least you're not burying your heart under more sin every night. At least you're sleeping. At least you're innocent for that much. At least that much. Then you wake up and you pray. At least start with a routine of praying Fajr on time. Start with Fajr on time. And the guys here, at least once a week, guys, make it to the masjid for Fajr. At least one. I don't ask you every day. Just one day a week. Give yourselves one day a week. And you don't catch the second rak'ah right before the salam. Right? And then after you finish making it up, you're like, oh, masjid today. It's right. You're like pointing at the right. And you wrote that down? You got that? You got that? Fajr? You're like, yeah. Get to the masjid early. Let me tell you something about Fajr in the masjid. It has a spiritual impact that only people who go to it will experience. It can't be explained in a lecture. When you go to it, when you go to the prayer, and you sit there in the masjid quietly, and you wait for the prayer to start, and you sit there and you recite Quran, and you ask Allah to forgive you in those morning hours, and then you stand next to other believers and countless armies of angels, and you stand and you pray in front of Allah in that early morning, giving up your sleep, which only happened because you gave up your nightlife. When you do that even once a week, the joy you will get out of it, you will, as you are walking out of the masjid, you will wish to yourself you did that every morning. I swear to it. I guarantee it. You're going to walk out of that masjid saying, man, I wish I could do this every morning. You really will. But start with once a week. Start with once a week. This idea of Ahad, there's one of the great writers on Islamic theology in Pakistan actually, Rafi'uddin, Dr. Rafi'uddin, commenting on this surah, said something amazing. And I really appreciated it because I think for modern audiences, this kind of stuff needs to be said and heard. Allah created the human being with the knowledge of Himself. The human being knew already there is this highest ideal, Allah Azza wa Jal. And not just that there is a God and He created us and now we can do whatever we want. No, He's the Rabb, He's the Master. My goal in life is to do what He wants. This is my highest ideal. My greatest accomplishment ever can be that I become His slave. That would be the greatest honor I can have. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his greatest honor, Subhanalladhi asra bi abdihi. He becomes abd of Allah. The slave of Allah is a great honor. That's the goal in life. And Allah pre-programmed that goal inside every single human being. But if you lose sight of that goal, it is like this, you have this thirst, this hunger inside you to fulfill that goal. Allah created you with that. But when your appetite is not filled with healthy food, what do you fill it with? If you don't get the right meal, are you going to say, I'm not going to eat at all? No. When a person is starving and there's no food of their preference, or there's no healthy food, there's even filth, barks of trees, will the human being still start chewing on that when it comes to that? They will. When you lose sight of Allah Azza wa Jal, and that no longer is your goal, then necessarily you will find a replacement. Necessarily. It is necessary to have something you aspire towards. That is the mission of your life. So the one who has found Allah, what happens to them? Inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen. It's very simple for them. The one who has really found Allah, their salah is for Allah, their sacrifices for Allah, their life and their death is now for Allah. The way they live, the way they eat, the way they sleep, what they want to do with their life, their long-term goals, their short-term goals, what are they going to do with their kids, why are they getting an education, where are they going to work, everything is now for Allah, that is their goal. But for the one who doesn't have that goal, they have to find another goal. And in old times there used to be idols, there used to be other religions, you find some other God. But in our times it's become far more pathetic. Far more pathetic. Now you have someone who's obsessed with their body and they're working out 18 hours a day. And their only goal in life is to just keep getting buffer and buffer. It's the only goal. Take steroid and look sharp, stay on top. Keep in shape. Or there's this goal they set with their trainer. I got to do this many reps. Or I got to do this many push-ups. Or I got to get bench press this many pounds, etc. That's their goal. That has become their ilah. For a person that their life has become about money. Have you met people? They cannot talk about anything except their work. They can't. Yeah, I work at this company, I do this. And the moment they lose their job, they become suicidal. Because that's all they ever thought about. That's all they ever did with their life. That's all they ever did. That becomes their goal. For some people, it's their children. They live for their children. They do everything for their children. Day and night they think about their children. There is no other thought running in their mind. There is no other goal before them than their children. That is all they run after. When you don't find Him, you will find something else. You will find something else, and you will run after it. And you will give your life to it. And there is no exception among human beings. And today it could be even a slacker. You could ask me, what about a slacker? You know those kids that play 20 hours of video games a day and don't get off the couch? Well, what is their goal? It is to entertain themselves. It is to fry their brain cells behind a screen. That is their ultimate goal. That is what they want to reach. And they're working hard to attain it every day. Right? That's what it becomes. These are the psychological implications of understanding Tawheed. It is easy to say Allah is one. But is He one in my life? Is he the one for me? Or do I have some other one that I'm running after? Or some other thing that I've put before myself? Allah asked this question rhetorically. He says, مَا غَرَّكَ رَبِّكَ الْكَرِيمِ. What deluded you from your gracious Master? What was so important to you that you ran after, that you couldn't come after this? Subhanallah. Subhanallah. So when he uses this word, Huwallahu Ahad, its psychological implications, its implications on our attitude towards Allah, and how we think about our life completely changes. Now there is nothing more important to me than making Him happy. Nothing more important to me than Him being pleased with me. Nothing more important to me than He forgiving me. Nothing more important to me that He would talk to me on the Day of Judgment telling me that I'm successful. He will look towards me. I will not be from the ones He turns away from. وَلَا يُكَلِّمُهُمُ اللَّهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Allah will not talk to them on the Day of Judgment. May Allah not make us from those people. These are some of the psychological implications of just internalizing ahad. Ahad. Just that word. What Allah is saying, this is who Allah is. This is what He's supposed to do. And I want to conclude, because it's time for salah, with the following. This is I can't quote Iqbal because I'm terrible at Urdu, but I'll tell you the meaning of the verse. Okay? Though I like the verse myself. So it's poetry. But he says what used to be, he's talking about, it's a poem about Tawheed. It's a poem about Tawheed. And he says what used to be something that burned in the hearts of men, is now a subject of abstract philosophical debate. That's what he says. Now what is Tawheed to us today? Debates, discussions, abstract discussions in theology that have no end to them. No end to them. But what it used to be was something that burned inside the hearts. Am I fulfilling the rights of ahad yet? Am I doing justice to that ahad yet? May Allah make us of the people of Tawheed. May Allah give us in our hearts what burned, the likes of which burned in the heart of Ibrahim alayhi salam and the Messenger of Allah and the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'een. We'll continue the dars on Surah Al-Isra.
The story of Yusuf alayhi salam can be broken up into 12 parts. If you know the story, you can easily, as it is in Surah Yusuf, you can break it up into 12 parts. I'll tell you why I'm telling you this. When I was in college, before I was even interested in Islam, I took a course called World Literature. And in that course, we studied some parts of Plato's Republic, Aristotle. We even studied actually the Communist Manifesto. We read some things from the Confucius. We read some things from the Bible. We read something from the Quran. And at the time, I didn't know any Arabic. When we took this course, one of our homework assignments was to compare the story of Joseph in the Bible to the story of Yusuf alayhi salam in the Quran. That was a homework assignment. And the only thing I had was the translation. Now I'll tell you what happened at the end of that homework assignment later, but let's go back to this. How many parts did I say the story has? What surah number is it? Anyone know? 12. Surah number 12 has 12 parts. Interestingly. Anyway, here's the first part. Yusuf alayhi salam sees a dream. The second part, his brothers make a plan against him. The third part, and by the way, the plan succeeds and he's taken away from his family. You know what happens. The third major part, the wife of the minister tries to seduce Yusuf alayhi salam, the test that he was put through. So the first part was the dream, the second was the brothers, the third was the wife of the minister, the fourth one was when she called the ladies. She called all of the ladies and they also fell in and they, did what they did with the knife. They weren't very good with knives. And then the fifth part, Yusuf alayhi salam ended up in jail. You guys know that part? Right? He was falsely accused and he went in jail. The sixth part is when the king had a dream and he couldn't figure out what the dream means. What kind of animal did he see in the dream? Call it out loud. Huh? A cow. Very good. That's a very loud cow over there. Okay. Now, the seventh part is that the dream that he had gets interpreted by Yusuf alayhi salam. So he doesn't know what to do with the dream. They send for Yusuf alayhi salam. He interprets the dream. The eighth part is Yusuf alayhi salam is released from prison. He gets out of prison. The ninth part is the women, remember those ladies with the knives? They confess. They admit that they did something wrong. The 10th part, the wife of the minister also confesses. The 11th part, the brothers learn their lesson. You know the brothers who put him in the well in the beginning? Now we're in part 11 and they learned their lesson. Final part, part 12, the dream of Yusuf alayhi salam gets interpreted. Finally, he knows what the ta'weel of the ru'ya was, the interpretation of the dream was. Okay, how many parts did I say again? 12. Now listen carefully. Part 1, he sees a dream. Part 12, the dream gets interpreted. Part 2, the brothers make a scheme against him. Part 11, backwards, the brothers learn their lesson and they ask for forgiveness. Part 3, the wife of the minister tries to scheme against Yusuf. Part 10, going backwards, the wife confesses that she was wrong. Part 4, the ladies tried to seduce or say something about Yusuf alayhi salam. Part 9, the ladies confess. Part 5, Yusuf alayhi salam goes to jail. Going backwards, part 8, Yusuf alayhi salam is released from prison. Part 6, the king sees a dream. Part 7, the king's dream is interpreted. This is not a book. It was a speech. There was no editing. There was no, here are the 12 parts. Let's put part 1 and part 12, part 2 and part 11, part 3 and part 10. It wasn't like that. It was given as a surah. The Rasul ﷺ recited it. And just in that recitation, it has this perfect symmetry. Subhanallah, ma a'jaba hadha al-kalam.
Now, maybe you were such a person. Maybe you were a person that wasn't very religious at all. And you were living life like the rest of your extended family. But something came in your heart and you said, you know what? I'm going to take this guidance seriously. I don't know how it happened. Maybe Allah made it happen through some YouTube video. Or it happened through some khutbah you heard, or a friend, or however it happened. But you decided to make a change for the better in your life. And when you start changing the behavior in your life, the first people to see a change in you will be your own family. They will notice it. They will notice that you're not the same anymore. You don't talk the same, you don't act the same, you don't go to the same places, you don't even have the same friends anymore. And this necessarily happens. When you take a turn towards Islam, necessarily you start losing friends. Because your old friends used to do pretty bad things and now you can't do those things with them anymore, so you suffer a loss of friends. And at the same time, your family starts saying, you're acting a little too weird. And for the young man, the family might even say, what's that thing on your face? You forgot to shave? What happened to you? And the girl starts wearing hijab and the family might even be in shock. And this is a Muslim family, mind you. They'll say, take that thing off your head. You're going to go out to the wedding looking like that? I can't sit in the car with you like that. What do you think we are? Who do you, all of a sudden you're the Islamic role model? Who died and made you Shaykh? That all of a sudden we should be looking up to you. Remember what you were like last year, man? You were the party animal. Now you're going to go make salah? Yeah, seriously, please. We know what you're really like. In other words, not only have you lost your friends, from your family you get the nastiest kinds of sarcasm and criticism. All the time, all the time. Every chance they get, they say something to you. They say something about your beard. They say something about your habits of making salah. They say something about you going to the ICNA convention. They say something about putting your children in Islamic school. They say something about sending your children to Sunday school. Or you getting up for Fajr or Isha and going to the masjid. They'll have some comments for you. And those comments hurt. They burn pretty good. This happens to young men in the audience, where their parents start telling them to stop hanging out with their other Muslim friends, don't go to the masjid, don't waste your time. I wallahi myself know of stories where the father found out that in between classes, the son used to, because his classes were 3-4 hours apart, in between classes he used to go to the masjid to pray dhuhr and just study at the masjid, instead of studying at the library where there's plenty of things to look at. Might as well go make salah and pray in the masjid, I'll be safer that way. Dad finds out. You're becoming an extremist, son. And what is the extremism in the eye of the father? That the boy is making salah in the masjid. That's extremism for him. Subhanallah. Muslims themselves, you think non-Muslims are averse to Islam? Have you seen what Muslim families are doing to their own? What parents are doing to their children? I know of cases myself where parents said, we will not pay your college tuition. We will not look for a wedding made for you until you take that hijab off. We will not do it. We do not accept you as our daughter until you take that thing off. We will not show our face in public with you. You can't go with us anywhere. This is the mother telling, and you know what they'll say, what's amazing about that? They'll make you feel bad about yourself. They'll tell you, what kind of daughter are you? You should be ashamed of yourself. You're embarrassing your parents. We're Muslim, but we're not Muslim. We're not those kind of Muslims. That's not how we do things in our family. That's what they'll say. Our family is different. We don't do things like that in our family. That's those masjid people. Don't be like those masjid people. That's what they'll say. And you know what's amazing about that? If you look at a portrait of your great-grandparents from back in the day, good old great-grandpa's got a big old beard and you can't even see grandma's face. So who's being true to the family and who's an embarrassment to the family? See, this is Muslim families today. And you're in the midst of all of this. And you know what happens? Because you've made a decision to turn towards Islam, if an enemy of Islam came to you and said, abandon your religion, you would say, oh yeah? I'm going to be even more committed. You would become energized in your zeal for the religion when the enemy attacks Islam. We'd get even more fired up. Muslims get fired up in the craziest of ways. Somebody draws a cartoon about the Messenger ﷺ and Muslims go crazy and they'll burn some other guy's car up. Or break somebody else's, because they're really angry. But we get fired up when something happens, something questions the dignity of our religion, even if it makes sense or doesn't make sense. But when your own family comes and says, look, I love you, I'm worried about you, I don't want you to become this way. This is the way of the people who fail out of college, who don't have a career, who have miserable lives. I don't want you to fall into this extreme. Somebody is putting you under their influence, you need to get away from them. They're the ones pulling you away. So how do you deal with that? The most inappropriate response to this pressure is anger. And you know what? That is the most common response too. Your parents start yelling at you for growing the beard, and you're a young, hot-blooded guy. What do? Oh yeah? It's the sunnah. You can't tell me what to do. You're following culture, and I'm trying to follow Islam, and you slam the door in their face. Way to go. Because that's what Allah wants you to do, yell back at your parents. And they're talking about your beard. What was Ibrahim's father talking about, alayhi salam? Was he talking about something small or something big? Go make sajda to idols, boy. And does he lose his cool? Does he get angry? We have to learn how to be with our parents. Even when they call you away from deen, it doesn't matter if they're Muslim or not. وَإِن جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكَ بِمَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. Allah Azza wa Jal tells us, if they struggle against you to make you follow what they themselves have no knowledge of, don't obey them, while at the same time accompanying them in the most dignified fashion. Obeying them is separate, respecting them is separate.